Welcome to AAPC Social Hour. I'm Alex McKinley. I've got my
Dave
buddy
Kaiser.
here. Yep.
Hi, hey everybody.
Oh man, it's been 2 weeks. We've missed you guys, and we'll just kind of let everybody roll in. But Dave, it looks like we're going on Facebook today.
I know it looks good. So I'm glad
Fingers
everything's
crossed.
connected and working. Yeah, we'll keep those fingers crossed, toes crossed. Yeah.
Yep. Send your good vibes our way, guys.
Yes.
And we've got Vivian Rosa who just joined us. Hey Vivian,
Viviana.
is it Viviana? Do you think I'm saying that right, Dave? What do you think?
Yeah, Viviana. She'll correct
Viviana,
us if it's not, right?
that's right. Let us know where you're at, Viviana. We'd love to hear about you and where you're at today. Um, and I'm, as usual, just in the suburbs of Salt Lake. And now, Dave, last time we talked about your adventures
Yeah.
and how you were in California. You're doing the nomad thing. Where are you at today?
Yeah, so I came back from California last weekend and I'm in Arizona right now, but I'm just on the border. So if Arizona stops here and Utah starts here, I'm literally right. They call it the Arizona Strip. And it's just this little section right next to St. George, Utah, right down at the border of Utah. And I've been just boondocking out here and I've got Starlink, I've got my solar panels and stuff. And so I'm pretty well connected, despite being out in the middle of nowhere. It's pretty great. So
That's that little strip that to get when you're driving to Las Vegas, you have to take that route you have to go do that little strip of Arizona to
yeah.
get into Nevada. Is that right?
Yeah, you take the gorge. They call it the Arizona or the gorge that connects basically Utah to Arizona, Nevada. It's like
Okay.
it's like you're going through like a mini Grand Canyon.
Oh, cool.
The terrain's just amazing. It's crazy rock formations and it's beautiful red rock and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, if you haven't been to southern Utah, you need to get out there. Where Dave's at is just a beautiful place of the world, really
Yeah.
famous, world famous. Viviana is in a famous part of the world, New York, and um, I've I've been to upstate New York, and I did walk around Times Square for like 15 minutes once, but I need to get out there and do it right. So that sounds awesome. We
That
got
would be cool.
Pamela. Yeah, Pamela from Clearwater, Kansas. Shannon from Florida. She says she used to live in North Phoenix. Beautiful out there. Dave, I don't know if I can handle Phoenix because I think it gets so hot. Like, doesn't it? Like,
It does.
have you spent a lot of time in Arizona? I just know it gets like 120s or so.
Yeah, I lived in Gilbert, Arizona for about 3 years. That was where I bought my first house even. So I was like I was like 20 or no, I was 30 something. I got married out there and everything. So yeah, I know Arizona pretty well and it gets hot. But if you can withstand or just stay indoors for, 3 months out of the year, the rest of the year is so nice, especially if you like doing things outside. It's so pleasant.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got Pushpam from India, and it is late. Pushpam, shouldn't you be getting to sleep soon? It's probably close to midnight there. Is that right? We're glad you're with us, though. Thanks for joining us. Teresa from Mobile, Alabama. Gina says, boring Ohio. I have never been to Ohio. I just think of like, when I think of Ohio, I think of Ohio State University. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to think, well, what monuments or landmarks or activities do I think about? Aren't there? I think there might be like Six Flags or some amusement parks out there with some great
Oh
roller
yeah.
coasters.
What's the
Is that right?
biggest the biggest coasters in North America? Isn't that in Ohio somewhere?
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
Gina, if Dave and if I hop in Dave's camper and we make a trip out to Ohio, what will you show us? We're going to count on you to show us around. What should we see?
Yeah, you say it's
We
boring,
need to
but it
know.
can't be totally boring. There's got to be some redeeming parts of it. So yeah, tell us what we could
Yep.
explore.
We've got Danielle from Twin Falls, Idaho, not far from me. And if her weather, I think she's a little bit cooler up there, but we're starting to turn the corner into spring. Um, So looking forward to that. Alexis is Alexis Nordling from Sandusky, Ohio. Thanks for joining us. Who here, who that is watching, will be attending HealthCon in Las Vegas next month? Looking forward to that. And Dave, you have so many roles with HealthCon. One big part, especially now that we're doing the hybrid, virtual and live. What's your preparation like right now?
Oh man. Well, yeah, first of all, it's so exciting. I'm really excited to go to Vegas because I get to drive there and I don't have to like go through the trouble of flying, and just it just takes traveling can just be hard, especially if you do it often. And I'm excited to drive down, but the things that we have to do to prepare for that, I've got a bunch of laptops and cameras and the converters and cables and all that stuff in kits in Salt Lake. And so I have to ready all of those kits for every one of the breakout rooms that we use to stream the presentations in each room. And then also for our general sessions, I've got a bigger setup, and the production company that we use, they send me feeds, video feeds and audio feeds into my setup so that I can kind of pick and choose how we want to give the broadcast to you guys. And we try and make it as integrated as possible, but we know we can't, because it's way different being there in person than it is being virtual. And there's things we can do on virtual that we can't do live, and things that we can do live that we can't do virtual. So but it's been fun preparing for it. I've got to go up, and we're doing a special Codify happy hour, and it's going to be really fun. I don't want to give anything away, but maybe it's already on the website. So I'll just say we're doing a murder mystery and it's going to be like interactive. There's going to be some cool components, all to introduce Codify to those who are new to it, but also to just hype people up about it and show them how cool it is. Even if it's been around, this is going to give you an opportunity to play with it and maybe even do more with it later. Yeah. Maybe even for free. I don't know. Not trying to give away too much, but you should definitely.
I saw the email the other day, Dave, with the staff trying to round up people to take on characters for the murder mystery. So yeah, it sounds elaborate.
Right. We had to do a casting call. So as many of you know, we like to, if you've seen any of our like social media videos or promo videos that we've done that are just fun and kind of campy, kind of cheesy, maybe pushing some boundaries, I don't know, but we do those with just a shoestring budget. It's me, my assistant Chelsea, we're videoing employees acting as actors, well, acting but it's so fun. So a lot of people, we've gotten comments that are like, man, you guys sure spend a lot of money on your promo videos. And I'm like, no, we don't. We really don't. We save a lot of money using employees. And that way we get to feature our employees too. People that don't get to be on social hour like you and I. So it's cool.
Viviana, our friend from New York, says she didn't even know there was a HealthCon. So Viviana, if you visit healthcon.com, just like you spelled it there, just close the gap between the H and the C, just all one word. You can learn more about that. So because you're watching, we're assuming you're a medical coder or work in the revenue cycle side of healthcare. This is really the premier event. Just tons of fun, great networking, amazing education, and we just have a great time for 4 days. So look at that. And actually, we have a HealthCon regional conference in Philadelphia in August, and I love Philly. That's closer to your neck of the woods, Viviana. So check that out. Maybe we can meet you out there sometime. But we're seeing a lot of our friends join in. Kelly Stranko says hi to Shelly Cronin. And speaking of Codify, our encoder tool that Dave was talking about, she will be at HealthCon. I believe she will be there in spearheading our information and knowledge about HealthCon, meeting with our HealthCon users, all of that. So it's going to be a great time. One of the best parts, Dave, is just hanging out with the staff. I get to see you and all of our great teammates and spend a few days with you guys. And it's just a good
Yeah.
time to reconnect.
Right. We get to reconnect too, because since COVID, we've all just been super remote and more disconnected. So I love these events. We get together with our staff and reconnect. And then we love interacting with all of you, with all of our members. It's so fun. It's HealthCon and conferences in general is probably my favorite part of my job, because I'm an extrovert and it charges me up and it's fun. So if you see me there, if you see Alex there, come say hi to us. We love interacting. So
Speaking of people that will be attending in Philly anyway, Sarah Reagan just joined us. Hey, Sarah. And she just received a notification that she will be presenting in Philly. So looking forward to seeing Sarah again. And I need to reconnect with her. It's been a while since we've chatted. Good to see you with us today. We have an awesome show. We have Julie Shaquan from Hawaii. It's super early there, so we're grateful that she'll be with us. We'll bring her on in just a minute, and we'll talk about her article that's in Healthcare Business Monthly. Oh, I got to back up. It's not Healthcare Business Monthly any longer. It is AAPC, the magazine. She has a great article in there, and looking forward to hearing about that. And then we have Lady Martinez and Gabriela Juarez, who will be sharing what it's like to be a Latino coder and learning about their background. And I'm kind of curious, like language barriers, things like that. What kind of challenges would someone with I think they're native Spanish speakers, but what kind of challenges they may have faced as they've broken into the industry? And I know they have got great careers, and they've done a lot of amazing things. So, Dave,
awesome.
are they in the queue?
They're all ready to go. Yeah.
Julie?
Yeah, that was a great introduction. Let's bring them all in. Julie, Lady, and Gabby. Is it okay if I call you Gabby?
Hello, ladies.
Good morning. Aloha.
Good morning. Hola.
Aloha.
Oh, Gabriela, we can't hear you for some reason. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear us? You can? Okay.
Okay.
We just need to figure out if you just maybe play with some settings and
I'll
make
chat
sure
with
that
you, Gabby. Yeah, if you open up the chat, I'll chat with you privately, and we'll see if we can get that working while Alex kind of takes over.
Ladies, great to see you. Thanks for being with us today. And Lady, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. And Julie, thanks for being with us today. Super early for you out in beautiful Hawaii. Give us a little taste of what the weather's like this morning in Hawaii.
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I need to hear this. Yeah.
So Hawaii is year-round average, 75 to 85 degrees. It never goes really below high 60s, and it never goes above the mid 80s. And so today, right now, I'm sitting in my kitchen, but if I were to go outside, the sun is shining. It just rose, and it's probably in the mid 70s and balmy. It's beautiful. It is paradise.
I love it. For Lady and Gabby, just so you know, we're going to talk to Julie a little bit about her article in this month's AAPC magazine. It's called New OIG Compliance Guidance is Here. Lady and Gabby, once we get Gabby's microphone working, then you're welcome to ask questions too. You're going to know more about this than Dave and I as pros in this field. But Julie, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been an AAPC member for, and your current role in the business of healthcare.
So my healthcare career started actually as a registered nurse. Then I went to law school and combined the two into health law. And as the compliance program guidances were being first published in the early 2000s, late 1990s, I got into the regulatory side of business. And one of the things I learned right away was that when dealing with physician clients, it wasn't enough to talk about federal and state false claims laws. They didn't know what to do to deal with that, and I didn't know how to help them. and I discovered coding. And so I attended a boot camp. I passed the CPC exam and joined the AAPC and never looked back. And I found it very helpful because it helped me talk to physicians about the importance of coding and documentation. And I found that if I could help them do it right, then we both didn't have to worry about compliance issues. And this was happening at a time when the OIG was being very aggressive, and there were multi-million-dollar settlements going on around the country with corporate integrity agreements on a monthly basis. And so it was kind of a preventative approach to compliance, if you will. And the physicians loved it. In fact, instead of hiring compliance auditors to my teams, I would hire coders, and I would have them do random sample audits of physician coding or documentation, and then attend faculty meetings. I was at the Ohio State University at the time, and show them where examples of good documentation to reinforce positive feedback, and then show them where better documentation was not only compliant, but optimize revenue for the acuity of the patient that they were dealing with. Because what I found many times was that it wasn't upcoding that was the problem. It was undercoding and leaving revenue on the table, especially with the E&M visits. And I see some heads nodding because they just were leaving incomplete documentation of all of the cognitive information that they had acquired in an inpatient setting. So that's where my career grew with coding. Like most healthcare lawyers, I did a variety of other things, including licensing and accreditation and mergers and transactional work. And that actually led me to Doha, Qatar, about 5 years ago, where I helped with a team of other folks like me open a women and children's hospital that the Qatar government wanted to run like a US hospital. And that meant that we had to introduce coding and documentation standards there, which was fascinating. And so
were they on an old code set, or were
they
they on
had
a
no
code set?
code set. We
No code set.
started with the basics. They had no uniform documentation standards.
It sounds like so much work.
It was a lot of work, but it was a labor of love. And then while over there, I was recruited to come to Hawaii, and I decided, why not? Right? Who doesn't want to live in Hawaii? And I love it here. And I'm the director of compliance here.
Awesome. I was going to ask that, like, how did you get from Ohio to Hawaii? But there you go. You answered that.
Yes. And I do have one thing to say about Ohio. It's a beautiful state. It's not boring. And if you were to go visit there, you would visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
Oh, that's right. And that Football Hall of Fame is out there too, I believe. Is that right?
I don't know much about football.
Okay.
I confess.
Well, we yeah. Well, I would spend a lot of time in I know Dave as well. We'd enjoy the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So yes. So anyway, I wrote this article because the compliance program guidances were published on a regular basis for various sectors of the healthcare industry for years. And then they stopped around 2010. And they all had the same fundamental elements, although they applied various nuances for things such as the pharmaceutical or home health industry. But they were looking pretty stale when you think about how much healthcare has changed since 2010. I mean, think about how many people had iPhones in 2010, or how many people had an electronic health record. It's such a different world. And last year, I read the Federal Register, and in spring of 2023, the OIG mentioned for the first time in 15 years that they were going to issue a new guidance. And I thought, oh my gosh, I wonder what this is going to look like after all these years. And so I felt that it was incumbent upon our AAPC members to know that this new change was coming and how they could utilize this to their advantage to optimize fiscal integrity in their coding practices. So that's what led me to follow up on this and write the article. And the article is meant to summarize a 91-page document. So whenever I talk about my article, it's the 70,000 foot level of what has changed. And some of the things that I do find helpful is that it simply reiterates the same fundamental principles of a compliance program. That hasn't changed. The laws haven't changed. The Federal False Claims Act, the physician self-referral law, civil monetary penalties, all of those laws are still in effect. But the thing that I like about the guidance, and I encourage anybody to read the article and look at the references cited, because the OIG has just given a treasure trove of insights and tips and summaries of what these laws mean and how to set up a compliance program or how to optimize your compliance program, both for the small practices or a large organization. And I think that they recognized over 15 years that they have to do more than just be prescriptive about what needs to be done. They need to give you a toolkit to show you how it can be done. And that's the difference, and that's the importance of the new guidance. So,
Lady Gabby, do you have any questions for Julie?
No, I don't have any questions, but I do like it that in her article, she stated that what should coders do? And I think all coders have the due diligence to ensure that we go and read those guidelines and those guidance, because it's pivotal for doing our work.
well, and I think it lends, to me, professional growth when you can combine compliance with coding, because increasingly those two roles are intersecting. And it's not enough to simply sit there and assign a code to physician documentation. I think that it behooves coders to elevate their skill set and take a more proactive approach.
That's what caught my attention as well, what Lady just mentioned, that you share a lot of the why, but at the end, what coders should do, you know, and I love that. And if you have a chance, I guess it's important for all coders to review
Yes.
this information.
I would add that the AAPC has a compliance academy and a compliance credential. It's very good and it's very substantive. And so individuals who are interested in getting more engaged in compliance should visit the AAPC website and look at the compliance academy that they have. It's very good.
Wonderful. Julie, have you served, I'm shifting gears a little bit, have you served on any boards with AAPC, National Advisory or Board of Directors, things like that?
I'm on the Legal Advisory Board. We present at the legal panel every year, and I am on the Ethics Committee.
Okay. Hey, the Crafty Coder commented she has her CPCO, so, you know,
yes,
way to go.
Good for you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, Julie, thank you so much for taking time out of your morning. We hope you have a great day. Enjoy that sunshine.
I will. I'll do
Aloha.
it for you. Aloha.
Yep.
Thank you, Julie. Great article.
Thank you.
That was awesome. She was great.
Yeah.
Very important information for coders, it sounds like.
It is.
Right, especially to put it in a synopsis. Can you hear me now?
You can. It's a little faint.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can give us an extreme close-up with your phone if you'd like, just to hear it a little bit better. Oh, you're on Bluetooth. That's probably why.
Let me get off Bluetooth.
Oh, I can't hear her.
That's okay. You'll get it if you just
Well,
turn off your Bluetooth. Is that what you did?
and maybe jump off and then jump back on real quick.
It could be. Like, yeah, that
Oh,
would
there
work.
it is. Oh no, sorry, that was Lady talking. Sorry.
Gabby, try jumping off real quick and then hopping back on. Maybe there's a misconnection.
And you'll want to look at the down by your mute button, that little up arrow. You might have to change the mic that you're using on your phone. So look for that. There's a little test mic button too that you can test that.
Well, while Gabby's working on that, I just want to read a comment, the follow-up from the Crafty Coder. I wonder, is that her real name? Does she go by Crafty? But she says, striving to bridge the gap between compliance coding and billing one claim at a time. Lady, how, before we hop into a few things, I guess, do all coders deal with compliance and having that affect their
I
work?
think, I think they all go together. I think it's important to not just know about billing, coding, but also compliance and auditing. So I think they all go together. It's like hand to hand. Few years ago, I was doing production coding, and then I was very not great at E&M. That's very hard. But then I started getting myself more into it, like getting myself educated. So, and then I started getting into auditing. So it's like every time now I code something, I see it from the perspective of compliance and auditing. So that's what I said. It goes along together. You need to know the whole picture. You have to see the whole picture, and it's just not about just coding a encounter is in or building that encounter. Is the whole thing. What is going to happen after that? Are you coding it right? Is it going to stand the audit? So that's the way I see it.
Awesome. I love it. Hey, welcome back, Gabby. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yay!
Perfect.
Everybody put a little
Perfect.
clap.
Love it.
Wonderful.
So
Okay.
Gabby is it okay that we call you Gabby Gabriella, or do you prefer Gabriella?
Gabby is fine.
Okay. All right.
And there's an R after the G in your name. It's Gabriella, right?
Yeah, Grabiella or Graviella, but don't call me
Gabriella.
Grabby. I don't.
Yeah.
People sometimes tend to do that. Gabby. Gabby is fine.
Cool. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Thanks.
we met, Dave and I met both of you. Geez, was it in Nashville or before or after then? Nashville. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys are amazing, have so much energy. Gabby is just down the road from me in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
And let's just start off with a little bit of introductions. Gabby, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in the revenue cycle and your role with AAPC.
Great. Yeah. Well, I've had a lot of different roles. So I actually moved to Utah from a small town in Idaho. And then I started at a temp agency. And I kind of laughed because my first assignment was to pull EOB, so explanation of benefits, right? But I had no idea what I was doing. But it would show up as not available, and I would just hand it in because I thought that's what it was. But now, more than 10 years later, it's kind of funny to think about it, because now I know what to actually look for. But it just started from there. I took everything as an opportunity. I started at a dental office as a biller scheduler for their ambulatory surgical center, and it just took off. And I've just moved gradually, which is great, right? Because that helps me learn the entire life of the revenue cycle, from, like I said, scheduling, prior auths, AR, billing, and coding. And currently, I teach medical coding currently. I'm teaching medical terminology and human anatomy now, and I'm a billing manager for a great company that allows me to collaborate with everyone, and it causes such a huge impact. So that's just a little bit about me.
Are you teaching do you have your own classes at your own little kind of like side business that you're doing, or?
Yeah, so I have my own business. It's called Medical Coding Vita Academy. So I believe it's given me, well, I know I know that AAPC has given me so many opportunities, and it's allowed me to grow so much, and I really love it. And so I decided to purchase the license so that I was able, especially as a small town girl from Idaho, where it's all about agriculture, right? And so there's not that many opportunities. I wanted to give other people the opportunities that I had also, right? Without having to move to a bigger city. They could stay home, and you can work from anywhere, for a lawyer, for an eye doctor. There's a lot of different positions. But I also teach at my community college. as well. So it's just a part of me. I like educating, and I get to do it at work also, which is awesome.
Love it.
That's so
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah,
Lady,
happy-
tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, go ahead.
Sure. So, just like Gabby, I started 14 years ago when I pivoted from a different industry. I used to be a delivery driver, and it's crazy that I used to do that. So my partner told me, you need to do something different. Like, this is not good for you. Like, you're so smart.
For what company? I'm curious.
DHL. It
Oh,
used to be the yellow truck. So I used to carry big boxes, used to deliver all that. So I was pregnant, and he's like, you can't be doing this anymore. I was pregnant for my second son. So he's like, you need to do something different. So I saw medical billing and coding in a newspaper, and I was like, well, that sounds kind of good. So let me try that. So I went for that. That was 14 years ago. I started on a primary care. I was there for 8 years. I did everything on the office. So actually, I think that's where I start all my foundation. I get everything. I learned everything. Authorization, referrals, answering phones, rooming patients. The only thing I didn't do at the office was doing vitals. Except for that, I did everything else. I did billing, coding, everything. So I learned that, and then at that office, someone introduced me to medical coding, and a medical coder came to the office to train the provider, and I was really fascinated, and I was like, I really want to do this. So I signed up like right away for getting my CPC, and that was in 2018, and I passed my CPC on 2019. I was a medical billing manager for a GI office, and then from there, little by little, I start going up and moving myself up in this industry. 3 years ago, I was in a production coder. And then just last year, I had the opportunity to become a coding supervisor for a big health system in California. Someone believed in me, and you're not going to believe it, that it was my previous president from my chapter, the one that gave me that opportunity. So I always tell you, being part of that chapter, putting yourself out there, it really helps you because you never know who's watching you. So always keep a professionalism, be a positive with everything. And that's what she saw in me. She really saw that I have potential. And then I've been here for 6 months, and I really love it. So just like Gabby, I like to teach and help others educating. I'm part of the AAPC build curriculum too. I'm TA, so I help students in AAPC. And then I'm also part of the billing advisory committee. So I do love to help. My biggest passion is help others, uplifting others, and then just to create opportunities. Like, AAPC has given me a lot of opportunities, and I'm more than grateful for being part of this community.
That's awesome. You guys have similar ideals about taking what you've learned and then sharing it with other people, which is beautiful. And I think that's the best way, one, to continue your own learning, but to also just develop yourself as a human. It's we absorb, we understand, we learn, we apply it ourselves, and then we teach it to others. And it's just enriching for everyone. So I love that.
I love the story of that networking paying off. Not that we build relationships to get something out at the end for ourselves, but it is so critical, whether it's your first job, second, third, fourth, to connect and build relationships with your local coding community through your AAPC chapter. And we see that's a huge part of HealthCon. And I've seen and heard of members finding their next position because of relationships they made at HealthCon. So, always continue to build those relationships. So important. And before we get into our featured topic, I want to talk a little bit to our two educators or coding educators that are with us about like tips. Like a few weeks ago, someone said, "Hey, you guys need to have more tips for students and those getting ready for the exam." Lady, I'm going to start with you as an AAPC instructor. Tell us a little bit about the common things that you see that could help a student prepare for the exam.
For number one, and I think this is like pivotal. This is crucial. Get intimate with your books. I work with Kimberly. Kimberly, hi, she's in here. I saw it. So Kimberly Jolivet. I am her TA, and I'm Christine Hall. Hi. So I think one of the first things that we always encourage students when we practice, when we help them with their course, I think is get intimate with your books. You have to really understand your book. It's not just about having the book and put in and just no, get intimate. Like know your books, know which one is for what, who. And Christine has a very good thing that CPC, CPT is who, what, or things like that. Knowing which one is how you utilize that book. Also, Kimberly always says that practice, practice, practice. The more you practice, the more you're gonna understand the concept. So you really need to practice. AAPC has great tools like the practice exams. Practice that, and not just practice, but manage your time. Like the number one reason people fail or don't pass is because they run out of time. That's the number one thing. They run out of time, and it's because you didn't practice enough. So practice. You have to have at least 2 minutes per question. Now with the new exams that are now they're electronic, I do encourage students to test your bandwidth, test your internet before, maybe a day before, so you don't have to going to troubleshoot it that day or like 10-15 minutes before. Try to get yourself ready. You already if you already went through a program, you already understood what you already went through, you get all the learning that you needed it, you got this, you will have it. But just be confident with what you have learned, understand the process, and you will do great.
So I want some clarification on what it means to be intimate with your book, lady. So
get intimate with your books. It's like we create something, Kimberly. So get intimate with your books is like going through the book, like ICD-10, where you can find your guidelines, where you can find what does it mean. Like, they have like the icon legends. What do those means? Understand everything on the book, and not just like going through finding a diagnosis code. But in the book you have icons, you have legends. So on the bottom of the pages it has little icons. You need to understand what they mean, because everything means something. So that's what I said, get intimate with your book.
okay, all right, Gabby, share a little bit of advice for our students and future examinees that are watching. What would you say to them?
I definitely agree with, but also build yourself a strong foundation. So it's important to know medical terminology and human anatomy, because they'll say the dorsal aspect. What is dorsal? It's the back. Talk about a transverse vision. It's like across, but if we don't take medical terminology and human anatomy, we kind of set up our straight into coding. We don't understand what it read, right? And going to then I have
Gabby, your audio is a little bit choppy.
Breaking up a little bit. We're only getting like a word every other 10 words.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Technology.
Yeah, just repeat what you just said.
Yeah, that's better. What you just said.
Oh, I just said I definitely agree with Lady, right? In getting intimate with your books, using your tabs or buying your own tabs, highlighting, also building a strong foundation for yourself, and knowing medical terminology and human anatomy so you understand what you're actually reading. And of course, I think it's really important when you're studying, how you study. What type of learner are you? Are you a visual learner? Also, where you study. If you go to your kitchen, you're going to want to eat. If you go to your living room, you want to watch TV, set a dedicated location for yourself so you know that that location is specifically for that reason, to study. And then also the I believe it's called the Pomodoro technique, where you study for 20 minutes, take a break, and come back. And time usually flies when you do that, but just a couple of tips.
I love that. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Audio was perfect there.
Love it. Thanks.
Yeah, we've had some tips coming from the chat too. Some of our VILT instructors are chiming in.
Yes.
Christine Hall says read the guidelines, then read them again.
Read again.
Kimberly Jolivet Williams. Hi, Kimberly. know where things are inside them, know which one is for diagnosis versus CPT. Are you guys impressed that I knew that DX was diagnosis? I mean, is that...
Yeah.
I am very
I mean,
impressed.
coder,
I
I
had
mean,
no idea.
it's osmosis. We hear enough things, you know.
Hey, shifting gears out of the student talk. Lady and Gabby and I have talked about this for a year, just talking about what's it like to be Latino coder. Before we even to kick this off, I think it's good to maybe define what is a Latino coder to you. And we're going to start where we left off. Gabby, what is a Latino coder for you? To you?
A Latino coder for me. I
Is it
just
a
feel like
native
it's a,
Spanish speaker or yeah?
I think it's just it can be. It can be anyone who is Latino. It's kind of empowering, right? To be a Latino coder. And for me, what it means for me is being first generation, right? Having my parents come here to the United States, and then giving me being born here and having that opportunity, right? I just feel like I have to take all opportunities. And it was something that was presented to me to be a coder. I didn't even know that it could be a career for me, but it was, right. And I just went with it and ran with it, if that's the word I'm looking for. But a Latino coder, it's just a community also, right? And not just of Latino coders, but of all coders. But where I'm currently working, the community college is catered to Latinos. And I love it because I'm teaching students whose first language is not English, it's Spanish. And I love how I teach and how they retain the information. And I'm so excited to see the possibilities for them, because they'll be Latino coders also, right? And I just want them to know all of the possibilities that there is, and then they can. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and they can take that. And what's nice is that there's people that they know that they can that would like to become a coder as well, right? Because of what they're doing. So it's nice to see that and to see it grow as well. Yeah.
Yeah, do you find different opportunities because you speak Spanish to where areas where you can help where other people maybe wouldn't be able to help as much just in your role? Are there some things that you're just able to do or communicate better? Because I mean, we
Right.
live in such a global connected world now but not everybody, you know, there's sometimes language barriers. So have you come across anything like that? Opportunities?
Yeah, so it definitely is great to be able to speak Spanish because you're able to help our Latino patients, right? And that even comes from being a little kid and having to be 10 years old and be an interpreter for your own parents, right? Calling and making appointments or whatever they needed, right? So yeah, it definitely comes in handy when you're explaining to them and breaking down their medical bill, co-insurance, co-pay, deductible, right? And even why, if they don't remember why they were seeing or any questions that they may have, you're there as an asset to be able to help them. So it's nice to know that we're not having to get back to them, or they're not having to find someone to help them, but you're here to actually help them and answer any questions that they may have.
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome.
Our population's becoming so diverse. Like, it's such an asset to know multiple languages. It really is. I speak Portuguese. I've spent some time in Brazil, so
Nice.
randomly I'll have random opportunities to either help someone or communicate something in, you know, in Portuguese, or just overhearing people, and it's fun. But it's,
Mhm.
you see more and more of our world just changing and just integrating. So it's
Yeah.
I
cool.
love that. Lady, what does it mean to be Latino coder to you?
Well, for me, it's a little different because I came from another country, came from Mexico. So being being a Latino, but then not just, and now getting myself into like this, like I said, this incredible, amazing career that I have as a coder. It empowers. It empowers, and it sends a message to people that everything is possible in life as long as you wanted it and as long as you're determined. If you put something in your mindset and you visualize it, and it's not just about visualizing, you visualize it, but you make it happen. And I'm always putting it that out there. And now I start speaking more. And then that's one of the number one things that I always tell people. We always struggle. And then it's not just about Latinos, like, but for people that come another country, now you have to live with the language, and language barriers exist, and there is a struggle. I lived it, and I still continue to live with it, because my English is never going to be perfect, and I'm always going to have an accent. But I have people that believe in me, and then that sometimes they push me for, like, and I have one right here. I mean, Gabby is one of them, and also Christine Hall. Christine Hall told me one thing. Just last year, she said, I struggle with this language, and then she said, you know what? It's on you, not on people. People don't have a problem listening to you. You are fine. Everybody can understand you. So stop thinking that, because I was being my worst enemy. And we have to understand that sometimes we are our worst enemies. And it's the imposter syndrome that kicks in. And once you let that imposter syndrome kicks in, it doesn't help you. So I let that go. And then I received that advice that she gave me as you know what? I just have to be myself, be authentic. People gonna see it. And when you're authentic, the world will accept you just the way you are. But with, you know, being a Latino, that's what it means to me, being a Latino coder. But it gives more to the community. So I had the opportunity as a TA to help other coders. Oh, they're trying to become a coders, and they struggle, right? So I tell them, don't try to understand this concept. Don't try too hard. Maybe understand it on Spanish, and then you do the translation. And I'm always tell the people, if Spanish is easier for you to understand a concept, understand the first on Spanish, and then do the translation. And once you know it, your brain will automatically pick up. No matter the brain doesn't understand the language, the brain understands what you put inside there, regardless of the language. So that's what I tell people all the time. So that's what it means to me, being a Latino coder. Empowers, just like Gabby said it.
It seems like whether you're a native English speaker or native Spanish speaker, when you take medical terminology and anatomy, you're learning a new language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good point. It's all foreign, right?
And that's another tip. Just to say it, that's sorry, Gabby. Just that's another tip. For those ones that they speak another language, not just the Spanish, if you're going through the course to study, whether it's a CPC, CPB, or any credential, and you speak another language, put notes in your own language in the books. You're allowed to do that. No one says that you have to put them on your own language. Put it on English. Put them on your language.
Yeah.
And that might be easier for you to navigate when you're taking your exam.
Yeah, great tip. No reason to like just put in what's easiest for you to understand.
Easier for you.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Lady, what challenges have you faced? You've talked a little bit about that, but what could you kind of just elaborate on some of the other challenges? I mean, I gather like the biggest challenge that you probably have felt from what I have heard is yourself. So overcoming yourself. But what is it like to step into this new language of medical coding, anatomy, all of that?
I think to me, personal speaking, I think to me is that people have put like labels. People sometimes tend to put labels or tend to make or even make fun of you, or like, oh, look at this person is making this or doesn't even know how to pronounce this, instead of correcting that person and helping that person to improve themselves. My kids do that all the time, but my kids are allowed to do it because they say, Mom, it's not like this. So I love it. And honestly, I think that's one of the number one things that have helped me to improve myself, is that I don't think things so personal. I feel like if people are investing their time to help me to improve, I accept that very, very gracious, because they're making me better. They're making me a better version. But I think that was the number one thing that, to me, it kind of, I struggle a lot when people were making fun of me with my English. and things like that. I think it was hindering me. It was, and it stays in my head for quite a few years, that it was not letting me to get better. It was not letting me to advance. And then the moment that I say, you know what, I'm done with this, no more. I'm breaking those cycles, and I'm not going to let anyone to determine how or where I'm going to go. That is when I start getting myself better, and then more opportunities start coming my way.
Yeah, when you embrace who you are authentically and your power, there's so much power in that. It's a beautiful thing. And I think we're moving into an age of authenticity and true freedom to express ourselves and be ourselves. And with that, it's going to come more acceptance of that too. So it's cool. And that extends not just, into medical coding, but that's just
in general.
Yeah.
If anybody makes fun of lady, if anybody makes fun of your accent or anything again, just send Dave and I their email or contact information, and we'll take care of it. Okay.
I will. No, I don't think anyone does it. I think I just move on to that. Like, but someone in the past, when I was working at primary care, I told them one day I'm going to work for a specific hospital, the hospital that I worked previously. And she even told me, there's no way you're going to make it work for the hospital. 3 years ago, I worked for 3 years for the hospital, and I'm now I'm in a different health system, bigger hospital. Yeah. But she did tell me, like, you're not going to make it. I was like, watch me.
Proving them wrong.
I just said, watch me.
Hey, Gabby, would you share a little bit about the challenges that you may see Latino or other minorities face as they step into the business side of healthcare?
Yeah, well, I have a great admiration for people who language is not English, right? Who are learning a new language, because it can be difficult. And it makes me sad to hear that lady every single time, like but I'm so glad that you persevere, and and I know people love you, and they love you for you and who you are, right? And we all see it, which is awesome. So continue to be you. But yeah, definitely the language barrier, and understanding a new language. But what I think is kind of cool about medical terminology is that it's semi-based on Latin, right? Latin and Greek. So that's something that I find that they can use to their advantage. Like lingo is tongue, but lengua is tongue in Spanish. So it's just using things that they know, right, to help them understand. But I think that's just one of the challenges that I do see, just slowing it down to help you understand when you read. And I think it's great that we can put notes in our books that help with language as well. Sorry. I know that Lady and I also together, we helped gals in Florida. We created a whole curriculum in Spanish just for them, because we wanted them to succeed, because we understand that can be a barrier, but we want them to understand what it is that they're reading so they can take that, right, and use it as well. But yeah.
I love it. I had no idea you guys did that. What an amazing feat. And I'm like, Ray needs to know about this. This is done independently, you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. I mean, all of our curriculum is in English. Well, there's a little bit of stuff that we've, our Brazil market has I say market, but it's so small, a very small presence. But we have just a tiny little bit of education that's not in English. And I think we're way behind on that. I think we need to really develop more education in different languages.
Yeah.
So
and I'm
I
was gonna say something, Dave, that I have a proposal to Ray, so I'm gonna try to see if I can present it to her in Helcom when I'm coming. But I do have a proposal for Ray.
Cool.
Oh boy.
And I think she'll be excited about that too.
It will be very excited. So I've been working on it. It's kind of like something that I really want to happen. And then I hope it goes through, because I think it will help many people.
Yeah.
we're winding down, you guys, and I just want to get this in before we're out of time. But Gabby, would you share with us what kind of encouragement? What would you say to someone who may feel self-conscious because their English isn't as strong as they wish it were, or coming in from a totally different background into the revenue cycle? What would you say to them?
I would say to get out of your head, right? Because like Lady mentioned, we are our own worst enemies. Our mind is our own worst enemies, and we're capable of so much as long as we want it, right? And that's something that I had written down because I have my notes, but anybody can make a path in this field. And our success is truly determined by ourselves and no one else, because we're the ones that have to put in the work. So just stop overthinking, be authentic. And I struggle with overthinking all the time, but I just have to separate that, because there is that imposter syndrome sometimes, and we create the scenarios in our head, but they don't exist. It's just us. But we're the ones that have to get ourselves out of that as well. We have to put in the work, right? Because like I said, we determine our own success. We have to invest in ourselves and our knowledge, because we can be huge assets to anyone, to any company, any so there's so many things that are possible. I wanted to be a teacher growing up, but I am a teacher, not for a middle school, but in a different way. But I still did what I wanted to do, right? You can go into consulting, auditing. There's digital marketing. There's so many things that you can do with this. So definitely, just yeah.
Love it.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Gabby. Lady, how about you? What words of encouragement would you give?
Well, if I had to put an analogy to give words of encouragement, I would use. I mean, have you heard about the traditional dish, the mole, right? In Mexican, there's the mole dish. So
Yeah.
that mole dish has so many ingredients, right? In order to be perfect, you wanna make it perfect, and it wanna happen like right away. So right, so because you have so many, I think it has more than 26 different ingredients. Let me tell you, to kind of be like that kind of perfect mole, you need all those ingredients. So you need determination, hard work, perseverance, resilience, all those things that you can add up, that you're not gonna gather in one day or 1 year or 2 years. It takes time. And just like the old saying that Rome wasn't built in one day, you're not gonna build this career in 1 year or 2 years. It takes time. It takes time. You have to go to struggles, and because you have to go through those struggles are going to make you the person in the future, the person that is going to be successful. So to be successful, you need to invest in yourself. So it has been taking me, to me, there are nights sometimes that I don't even go to sleep. I go to sleep at 2 in the morning because I work, I study, I'm going to college. Those little things that people don't see, and they see sometimes, oh, you're successful. Yeah, but it has been taking me, it's a hard work that I put on. And sometimes I'm running, like taking my kids from, sports and everything. So it all combined together is, don't give up, keep fighting, keep fighting. And then for those medical coders that are new, even if people shut the door or say no, and no, it doesn't mean that it's no right now. It just means no right now. It doesn't mean no forever. So keep fighting. If someone tells you it's not going to happen, you prove them wrong. Prove them wrong. Show them who you are, and then just like Gabby says, be authentic, be resilient, and then the hard work will pay off. It will pay off, and you will live your American dream, just like I am living mine.
What an inspiration these women are, Dave.
Both of you, yeah.
Holy
I love
cow.
that. Because it's so much of it, and I'm, the Sagittarius in me, the philosopher, I take all of these things and I just like, oh, this is life, right? It's life. And we have these little microcosms and these little areas to practice and to learn and to become. And it just adds to who we are, our character and our experience. I love it. So thank you for sharing, both of you, Gabby and Lady. Beautiful.
We have people who are listening on our podcast, and I want to read this comment that came through from Nadia. She says, my mother and I were in Texas, and I received a call once that my father and brothers were in a rollover accident on their way to a Boy Scout camp retreat in Monterrey, Mexico. Our family in Mexico paid for all my family's immediate medical hospital expenses, but later my mother had to have all the Spanish medical billing records translated to English so that U.S. Blue Cross and Blue Shield could reimburse my mother her out-of-pocket expenses. So in summary, yes, language translation is important and crucial, and what a valuable asset the two of you are to the healthcare systems you work for. So thank you for that. And I just got to throw this in, you guys, just regardless of what background you come from, opportunity is there, and your outlook, you know, how you approach it, how you approach the challenges will determine your success. And I know, just as you both have spoken, you aren't without the challenges. Your careers haven't been perfectly smooth, and nobody's is, but you guys have done it. You've thrived and figured out a way. Would it be all right if AAPC members or anybody watching reach out to you on LinkedIn to make that contact and ask questions?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right. So that's Lady Martinez and Gabriela Juarez, and you can find them
And Julie.
on LinkedIn. And Julie, yes. Julie Shaquan.
Julie's still watching. Yep. She's backstage.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Julie.
Hi, Julie.
And Alex, I was gonna say I did write an article about language barriers. It's coming up next month.
Nice.
You know,
awesome.
I would add that I didn't realize I had an accent until I moved to the Middle East. So it was a learning curve.
It's all relative. Yeah.
It's all relative.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. Beautiful.
Yeah, Julie, thanks for hanging out. It's fun to have you back here. And we're just going to wrap it up. Thanks to everybody for being with us. We will see you in 2 weeks. And what an amazing broadcast we've had today. And we will see you guys later. All right. Bye, everybody. Well, Dave, that was fun. It's fun to have such a wonderful panel with us today.
Yeah, that was such a good one. These have been fun. I really enjoyed these social hours. So if you guys are also enjoying these, share them with your friends, share them with your coworkers, colleagues, even people who aren't members. Why not? There's just a lot of good information, and we can all benefit from it.
Yes. Yeah. Wonderful. Okay, we'll see you guys. Well, hopefully we see you in Las Vegas, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.